The 2018 Memorial Cup will be getting underway soon here on May the 18th. In today's video, we're going to do a preview of the tournament and discuss the 4 teams that are participating and some of the NHL prospects that will be playing in this tournament. And that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We cover all 31 NHL teams, as well as major, junior, and international hockey. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. Alright, so as I said off the top, today we're going to do a preview for the 2018 Memorial Cup tournament to determine who's going to be the national champions amongst the Canadian Hockey League major, junior hockey teams. Now, in case you're not familiar with this tournament, I'll give you a quick rundown here just to explain how this works. Basically, the CHL, which is the major junior level of hockey here in Canada, is comprised of 3 different leagues. We have the Western Hockey League, which covers the prairies out through west into BC. We have the Ontario Hockey League, which is obviously just in Ontario. And we have the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, which covers the province of Quebec and all of the Atlantic and Maritime provinces as well. So at the end of the year, the 3 leagues obviously have their own playoffs to determine a champion. So then the 3 league champions, as well as a predetermined host city, have this Memorial Cup tournament every year to determine the national champions for Canadian major junior hockey. So it's usually a very exciting tournament. There's lots of great NHL prospects that usually get to play here at this tournament as well. Some of them are going to be prospects that are already drafted that you might be more familiar with. And some of these prospects might be 2018 NHL Draft eligible prospects that you might recognize from hearing a lot of chatter around the NHL Draft coming up next month here in Dallas, Texas. So let's take a look at the 4 teams. I'll give you a quick rundown on them and some names to keep your eyes open for as this tournament progresses. The tournament starts May the 18th and should finish up around May the 27th. So there's going to be lots of exciting hockey. If you haven't had a chance to take in many major junior hockey games in Canada, it's certainly a high quality of hockey. It's very entertaining, and I highly recommend you check it out if you have a chance. So let's take a look here at each league. Let's start with the WHL. The winner of the WHL, the league champions, was the Swift Current Broncos. They ended up defeating the Everett Silvertips in the final. A very solid series, and the Broncos are going to be going on to represent the WHL at the Memorial Cup. Now, the Swift Current Broncos have a couple of high-profile NHL prospects that you're probably familiar with. They're led by Tyler Steenbergen, who had a tremendous season of over 100 points. And it's probably his final year of major junior hockey here. He's an Arizona Coyotes draft choice. He has a good shot at making the NHL here very soon. He might play in the American Hockey League first. Steenbergen was on Team Canada for the World Junior Championships this past winter. He was originally made the team as the 13th forward, so he didn't see a lot of playing time in the beginning, but he ended up scoring the game-winning goal in the gold medal game to give the gold medal for Team Canada. He's a tremendous offensive talent, but with the other group of guys they had, he just didn't quite fit to get a lot of ice time on the roster. Obviously, Canada always has deep junior teams because of the tremendous amount of talent, and he was just unfortunate to get a lot of ice time in the beginning, but he certainly proved his worth in the end and scored the biggest goal of the tournament for Team Canada. Now, another player on the Swift Current Broncos you want to keep your eyes open for is Alexi Heponiemi. Heponiemi is a tremendous offensive talent, a Florida Panthers draft choice. He was playing overseas before, but has made the jump to play a season of major junior hockey here in Canada. Opted to go to the WHL. He's performed quite well for Swift Current, had a tremendous offensive season, so he's yet another strong prospect in the Panthers organization. I fully suspect he'll be given every opportunity to make that club next year. The Panthers already have a lot of good young players on their roster now, and they have other guys as well, so a guy like Heponiemi is a really exciting player to keep your eyes on. So he's really a tremendous offensive talent. So the Broncos really have some experienced players here. Now, some of these other teams are more known for their draft-eligible prospects, so they're a little younger, don't have as much experience, but the Swift Current Broncos have a couple of really stud forwards to keep your eyes open for sure. Now, another player with the Broncos that you might recognize that recently made the news was their goaltender, Stuart Skinner, who's an Edmonton Oilers draft choice. He just recently signed his entry-level contract with the Oilers, but he's a great goaltender and a good goalie prospect for the Edmonton Oilers. Now let's take a look at the OHL's champions, the Hamilton Bulldogs. They have some pretty notable players there to keep your eyes open for as well. They're led by one of their top guys, center iceman Robert Thomas, who's a blue chip prospect for the St. Louis Blues. Thomas is a prospect we've talked a lot about here on this channel when we've done top prospect videos, or even in some of the trade rumor videos that we've done, because the Blues obviously are looking to make some upgrades to their forward group, and it's been speculated that he's a player that a lot of other teams have asked about when inquiring to make deals with the Blues. They've been reluctant to give him up, and rightfully so. He might be one of the top center prospects outside of the NHL that's already been drafted. He looks to be a tremendous talent. Potential for a top #1 center, if not definitely a #2. Like, the kid looks like he has a lot of potential. Another guy that played for Team Canada at the World Juniors this past winter. Has tremendous upside, so keep your eyes open for Robert Thomas. Now, another player for the Bulldogs you want to keep your eyes open for is Matthew Strome. There's another Strome coming up in the wings here. He's a skilled winger. He's a Flyers prospect. He's a little bit different player than the other Strome boys that are in the NHL and the American Hockey League, but he's another skilled winger coming from that productive Strome family, who's obviously got some great DNA to produce some good hockey players. Another guy to keep your eyes open for is Isaac Nurse, who's also a winger. He's the cousin of Edmonton Oilers defenseman Darnell Nurse, and his uncle, which is also related to Darnell, is former Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb. So there's a little tidbit for you in case you didn't know that. But Nurse is a 2018 draft eligible player, and he's expected to go. He may not be a first-round pick, but he'll probably go in either second round or third round. He's still a pretty good skilled winger. Definitely expected to get drafted this summer. Now let's jump over and take a look at the host team, the Regina Pats. Obviously, the Regina Pats unfortunately didn't have enough success to win the Western League this year. Since their season came to an end, obviously, early in the playoff season for the Regina Pats. The notable player for the Regina Pats is Ducks prospect Sam Steele. Sam Steele is definitely one of the best center iceman prospects available out there as well. Another guy, played for Team Canada at the World Juniors. Definitely gained some exposures there. He did have a chance to go. I believe he got in a few games with the Ducks American Hockey League affiliate. I do believe once the Regina Pats season ended, I know he was going to go there. I'm not sure if he got into any action or not, but he's a tremendous prospect. I fully suspect he will make the jump to the NHL at some point, but he's by far their biggest name. So you definitely want to have a chance to watch Sammy Steele play. He's a great center iceman, good playmaker, good goal scorer as well. He kind of does a little bit of everything and does all the little things well, just like Robert Thomas. It's very similar type players for sure. They're not flashy, but they get the job done. They do it at a high level, and they get a lot of points on the board. Now, at least let's take a look at the QMJHL champions, the Acadie-Bathurst Titan. Obviously, Acadie-Bathurst, they're a team that's out of northern New Brunswick, which is the province where I live. I've got a chance to see these guys play. I try to catch as many of the junior games as I can between the New Brunswick teams, between them, the Moncton Wildcats, and the St. John Sea Dogs. But the big news with Acadie-Bathurst, the one player you definitely want to watch, is star defenseman Noah Dobson. Dobson's a draft-eligible player this year. He's by far, in my opinion, their best player. He's probably going to go in the top 10, potentially, you know, in the upper half of the top 10. I mean, I don't think he'll be top 4 or 5, but from that 6 to 10 group, I think he could be in the higher end of that. He's a tremendous two-way defenseman. Does a lot of really things well. He's got quick speed. He's got good offense. Like, he really does a lot of things well at the junior level. He's definitely going to be a blue chip prospect. Whoever drafts this kid is going to be very fortunate. Wouldn't completely rule out the fact that he could go straight to the NHL. It is possible, but depending on where he goes, for what team selects him will kind of determine the path he takes, depending on where things are at with the team and with him and where they think that works out best for his development. But Noah Dobson is a player you definitely want to watch for sure. Acadie-Bathurst has had a tremendous year. They ended up defeating the Armada in the league championship final. Jake Batherson, who was a Senators prospect, was probably the best player in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League tournament in their playoff season this year. He was really tearing it up. It looked like the Armada were going to win the league championship, but the Acadie-Bathurst Titans shut them down and took it away from them. So I was a little bit surprised. I think Acadie-Bathurst probably was the underdog going into that series, but they get the job done for sure. So those are your 4 teams. So they're going to play a round-robin tournament style, and then they'll get into the elimination games afterwards. So it's very good competitive hockey. Definitely something you want to keep your eyes open for sure. If you have a chance to watch this tournament, I highly recommend it. If I had to pick a favorite here amongst the 4 teams to win, I'd probably pick the Swift Current Broncos. They would be my pick to be national champions. I think the host city, the Regina Pats, you know, they didn't have a bad year, but they didn't have a great season either. I would think that they might be the weak link of the group. I think Acadie-Bathurst, as good as Noah Dobson is, he's going to run into some top teams here from the OHL and the Western Hockey League. I think the Bulldogs and the Broncos, in my opinion, are the 2 strongest teams. And if I had to predict a winner, I would probably pick the Swift Current Broncos. I really think they have what it takes to get it done. but I think the Bulldogs will give them a good run. I could see those two meeting possibly in the championship game for sure. So again, if you have a chance to check out this tournament, I highly recommend it. Again, if you're new to this channel, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and we do focus a lot on the NHL Draft and junior hockey, as well as other development leagues around the world, so that we can talk a lot about NHL top prospects. We love developing lots of conversations around the prospects and where they might go, and doing mock drafts and all kinds of prospect talk. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to put a link down in the description for a prospect playlist so you can get caught up on a lot of the past videos we've made as well. So again, if you're new, I hope you consider subscribing. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it if you did. And don't forget as well to follow us on Twitter. You're going to see our Twitter handle on the screen right here. We're very active on Twitter. We love engaging in conversation around hockey with our fans and followers. So please check that out if you use Twitter. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.